Hello. Oh, there you go. How are you?
Right. Hi, how you doing?
I'm okay. I'm
Good.
okay.
Okay. I just wanted to explain a little bit to our viewers. So, as we know, the main point of these interviews and what we do is to try and help people move forward into New Earth. And we're looking at all the different things that we can do to help humanity move forward into New Earth. And I think we can both agree one of the most important things is self-healing. Okay. So, with the self-healing, I think looking at the chakras and what they do and how they work, that is sort of an essential part. So I have a limited understanding of the chakras as well, but this seems to be your forte. In fact, you're even writing a book on the subject, which is brilliant. Okay. So, people look at chakras and they think, oh, it's a new age spirituality thing. And,
Yeah.
they kind of foo it a bit sometimes. But you didn't just pick up a book and learn about chakras.
No.
Your experience with chakras happened very differently to how most people do. So, do you want to explain to us a little bit about how it started? How did you become aware of the chakras and how you started working with them? How did that all start?
Okay. So I was actually quite young when I started realizing there's energy fields. Now, the weird thing is when I close my eyes and I do meditation and all that, I'm aware of the energy field that it's always flat. It's like a flat plane of energy. And I can see when I'm in that place, I can see it, close my eyes and I see the people there, but they're not close. They're never close. The only time I've seen them in your energy field or in the energy field is when you're interacting with them or something like that, or under attack or something like that, whatever it may be, depends. And so I started noticing that when I close my eyes and do meditation, all that, I see the energy field and that there's different energy fields. They've got different colors. So I started noticing that they were different, all these different energy fields. So when I'm in a certain place or mood or whatever, the energy field looks different. It feels different. So it's like going somewhere.
Okay.
Okay.
And you physically see this?
Pardon?
You physically see this around people then all the time?
So if I sit and we communicate, I close my eyes, I can see you in the energy field. So it's like you are coming to me or I'm going to you, whatever, but we are together now in this energy field. And this is also where people astro travel or astral project, or whatever they want to call it, because they go into the energy field. So the way I sort of noticed that they are different was when I noticed the colors are different. So it's like going into a field in the countryside, right? Each field looks different. It grows something different. The colors are different. The people connected to it is different.
Wow.
So that sort of, I went like, what is this? So I've always been aware of that. And when we were talking about flat earth before, but when I was like, when we were talking about the flat earth, people saying stuff, and you're like, wow, listening to all this stuff, I've never seen the energy fields round. I haven't. They're always flat. There was a flat surface. Now, I'm not saying if it's flat or not. I don't know, right? But it was always curious to me that the energy fields are layers. And then I noticed, I was shown once that I was on an energy field and then there was one above me. And I was like, okay, so there's a lid or something. And so this is how I started to become aware of different layers, okay? So eventually it led me to the chakras. So I'll explain how this happened. So as I was working with the energy field, obviously I had no idea what it was. I didn't, at that time, I just thought, whatever, it's just here, I look at it or whatever. And I've always, as a kid, communicated with what I thought was God, but I had responses when I prayed, right? So then this is this energy in my energy field, okay? So as I was growing up, I was only aware of one energy field all the time, pretty much. It's only when I started developing that I started picking up on the different ones. Then I started feeling it in my body, right? So this is the thing. I would feel certain emotions, certain times, and it would affect me in certain areas. So if my concerns are around money or material things, the physical world, it would attack my lower back, or I will get pains in my legs and my hips and my feet, something like that. Then I started noticing later on with the sacral. I started noticing it's more about emotion, because the sacral is more about emotion. We'll go into it a bit. But anyway, so I started noticing I feel different energies at different places in my body.
Wow.
So that was weird, because sometimes when I go through something, it's like an attack in my solar plexus, so here in my stomach or the gut, and then I would feel this cramp in my heart, or I feel like my chest almost caves in. I feel a lot of emotion in the chakras, to the point where I have actually fainted.
Wow.
Overload of energy. And that happened quite a few times. And in the past, I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought I was ill or something, right? So I went into that a bit. And yeah, I was ill. I did become ill later with arthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, which I'm now cured from. So everything was in these layers. So then I started thinking, okay, so there's top, there must be a bottom then, if I'm at the top. So these things toyed in my head. So I've always been aware of energy fields. So when I discovered the chakras, I was like, oh my God, there's a name for all these pokes that I get. So if I get a poke in my stomach, that's the solar plexus. If I get, my throat suddenly feels like it's, people will come and suddenly I feel like I'm being choked, or I start coughing or something. It's energy that I'm taking. So when I work and do healing as well, to ask any of my clients, sometimes I will start coughing. I have a coughing fit. What's happened with you before? But I will cough and cough, and I can't. Then all of a sudden, it's like a pop, and then the energy, then the cough is like gone. As soon as, and then I'll do this, because I'll start. Okay, right. As soon as I feel, okay, this is what it's energy, I'll start doing this, and then it subsides, and then the cough goes, right? So this is how I've learned that the chakras are real. Now, everyone has a little theory around the chakras, of course, because everyone experiences different things. But if we go to the origin where the chakras was discussed originally, was with the Hindus, okay? The Hindus started talking about chakras. Unfortunately, as what happens with religion, that obviously twisted. Because if you go into the Hindu belief, there's Kali and there's this one and that one. And Kali is vicious. She's a vicious goddess.
Yeah.
That confused me, because when I started going, oh my God, this chakras, there's something there. So I've gone right into it. And there's some things I look and people say, oh, the chakras is this and this. I agree with some things, and some things I'm like, no, it's a bit, it's someone's own theory on what they think it is. And that's fine. Everyone can have that. But this is why I think there's a lot of confusion about chakras, because I've been told in the past, or people have said to me, the chakras are part of the New Age movement, which is part of the deep state, cabal, dark side, whatever you want to call that.
Yeah.
I can see how they can say that, because a lot of people believe that because of the layers, that you are split. Now, I don't see that, but I can see what they're saying, because I can see how they get to that conclusion, because the root chakra, for example, develops from year 1 to 7. So in your first 7 years, you haven't had food or affection, love, warmth, the basic fundamentals that makes us feel safe. For the rest of your life, until you deal with that, you will have difficulty. You'll always feel unsafe. You'll always feel certain things. Now, I will go into a bit of how, because it's always good, I think, when I talk about my own experience, then I can talk from what I know, not from what I read or something. Yeah. So when my childhood, I won't say I ever went hungry. I've never went, I never not had a roof over my head. You know, I never felt scared, where I'm going to be, am I going to be safe? I had that. Emotional support, I didn't really have that. I think they would say they've given me emotional support, but I did not feel that. So because of that, for example, to this day, I find it very difficult to feel comfortable in certain situations. Okay, so as soon as I feel someone's withdrawing, or I feel unsafe emotionally, I withdraw. I become like, oh, I feel a bit like that, because that's made me aware of, from a very young age. Do you see what I'm saying? In years, I've worked through it, so I feel I can handle it better and all that. But I've noticed that when people don't work through each chakra, because each chakra correlates to a certain time of your life. So the root here 1 to 7, for example, the sacral is 7 to 14, and so it carries on, right?
So are you saying, sorry, I just want to clarify. So are you saying that as each chakra is in its developmental stage, if it's not nurtured, then we suffer the consequences for that throughout the lifetime?
Yeah.
Okay.
So confidence, for example, because let's talk about creativity, sacral, right? Sacral is around creativity. It's also emotional. The symbol for the sacral is the lotus, which is beautiful if you think about it. Also, the sacral also correlates with sexual desires and all of that stuff. So it's a very feminine energy. The root is very masculine, very strong, powerful. It's like basic facts, physical. This world, this dimension is physical. Everything is about money and food and what you can have, material. So when people are very materialistic, or they're very much stuck in the chakra, it's because they are either afraid to go higher, because the higher you go, the more spiritual it becomes. So from the heart, for example, when you get to the heart chakra has got 2 layers. One part is the seat, hate, anger, all that, lower. So the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, and that part of the heart goes to the lower frequencies, so the lower dimensions, the lower layers. Right. When we talk about the higher part of the heart, the throat, the third eye, the crown, that is more connecting to spirit. Okay? So if someone's never been taught about spirituality or everything or anything like that, and they are focused purely on, you need to make a living, you need to have money, you need to have a home, you need to have so many cars, you need to have. They don't really connect to the higher frequencies because they don't know how. They've not learned how to do it because they've not been shown.
Yeah.
And being brought up in a religion like I have, I think it did have a factor to making me more spiritual, because it made me aware of it more. But it also hindered me because I wasn't able to understand myself more, because I was told, this is it. This is the religion I'm teaching you, and this is it. So then to go to the higher chakras or the higher frequencies is hard. So to go to the higher energy fields. So if we go back to, it will come together. But when we go to the higher energy fields, that's a higher frequency. This is where you connect to source and all that stuff. This is why some people are very psychic, because they're more connected to the higher energy fields or dimensions, because each energy field is a dimension. I learned it by how it made me feel. So they showed me it. Didn't read it. So I'm not saying it's a fact and that my way is the only way. I'm not saying that. Someone might say to me, it doesn't work like that. And they might be right as well. But the way I've been shown that each chakra is a dimension. So if you're in the lower dimensions, you deal with the lower vibrational stuff, right? So if it's root, it will be a focus on money and material. If the sacral, people are obsessed with sex, for example, they are insecure with themselves. So, and I've been through that. I've been through that stage where I didn't really understand myself. I didn't know. So I would give myself away anyway, right? It was just easy. Then when you get to the solar plexus, for example, that deals with your self-esteem, your personal power, and all that stuff. So when you get to that level, it's a whole other energy again. So each layer, and I think it's very loving, actually, from a spiritual point of view, to go through each layer. We get an opportunity. It's like, okay, it's very controlled, very organized, very much, there's a system.
Yeah. So do you have to start at the bottom first? Do you have to sort of start with one and then move your way up?
Well,
so it's growth.
But I always suggest, when I do the courses with people, I always suggest we start with a root and we work our way up, because for people to actually know themselves, because the chakras is about knowing yourself. People don't know themselves. They think they do. So when I start working with them, they're like, oh, I'm such a terrible person. I'm and they see themselves in this light. When they're done, they're like, oh my God, I'm actually not so bad. Yeah.
So is this a bit like the duality of, of everything? You know, we've got to understand love to experience, or you've got to experience hate to understand love, that kind of duality. Is it the same thing?
Yeah, because the chakras does both, right? Like I've explained, the lower layers is more lower vibration. Doesn't mean it's negative. Doesn't. How we view it. So money is not negative. It's not negative. How I view money. Now, in the past, I have had a bad view of money. I hated money because I thought money was the beginning and end of all evil. Then I started learning, hang on, I can't have that view because I'm manifesting zero money. Then I was like, okay, I have to change my attitude about money, right? Because my guide showed me your way of viewing money, it's not money's fault. Yeah, it's been created to do bad stuff and all that stuff, right? But it's not money's fault. This is what it is now in our life. So you have to have a healthy view of money to get it. Otherwise you block it. So I've also learned that manifestation works very, very closely with the chakras and these layers. So they all work together. And so when I started understanding it like that, I mean, I wasn't very young when I realized that bit. It was, it was probably like, I would say maybe 10 years ago or so, I started realizing these layers and that there's something happening in here. And then when I found out about chakras, it was like, oh, I don't know what it is. I've got a name for the pain in my back, lower back. I know why it's throbbing there, even though there's nothing wrong with me. I know why solar plexus sometimes will beat like this. It's like a throb in your stomach and you feel like you can be sick and stuff. And then other times you feel ecstatic. So I've learned like you say, there's a duality, there's a negative and a positive as well. Because again, I've learned also that we're like batteries, right? We are negative and positive. You have both. You need both. Otherwise, we won't thrive. So in these energy fields, there's two sides as well. So you can choose then to go into the positive or the negative. And a lot of people don't know they're in the negative. So when I say to them, you're negative, they say, no, I'm not negative. Okay, because they don't know the energy fields. They look at themselves, they take it personally. It's like, oh, you're attacking me. When we talk about the solar plexus and the heart chakra, we talk about ego, right? And then people need to see, hang on, this is not about me. It's about understanding my spirit, not about who I am as a person here now. It's about what is beyond me. Who was I before? Who am I going to be after? What is my energetic capacity? Not just what am I here for physically. And that's the difficulty people struggle with. And I think for women and men, it's different because men is very logical. Everything has to be logical. So when you talk about chakras, like some get it. And then you get on the other side, women that they are so into the chakras that it almost like steers them in, oh, I don't feel good today. My solar plexus is fluttering. It's all that. So you learn to balance the two
of these chakras. This is fascinating stuff. Yeah, fascinating. Just shows you the duality of everything, every lesson we learn, and we can go, like you say, to the extremes of each one, and it's about learning that balance then.
But so, also, as a child, if you had a crack, let's call it a crack, right? When you say you were a child, something happened to you. So I was abused, okay? So I'll just go with that. So I was abused. So the solar plexus, not the solar plexus, the sacral. My sacral was under attack. Obviously, I didn't understand it. But later in my life, I had a real problem with it because when people came close to me, connecting to the sacral, two things happened, depending on the person. I'd either open up too much or I shut down. I couldn't have a balance. I didn't know what it was. So if I find the person attractive, I just open up.
Yeah.
If I find, oh, I don't know, I'll pull away completely. So I was always hot and cold, hot and cold. Do you see what I'm saying? So
Yes.
when I realized there was unresolved issues, I had to heal my abuse. When I started healing that, the hot and cold went away. I was more balanced. I could now see, okay, this person's a bit pushy, and I can now resist. I don't have to go into the energy. Because I was quite easily manipulated. I was very naive because of my upbringing. And because of who I was. I'm a very open person. I'll tell you anything. I have nothing to hide. I'm an open book. People ask me, I tell them. I don't, if I've done something, I will say it. I will say it because I own who I am. But I've learned to do that because I've learned if you own who you are, your vibration's high. No one can block you. So if I know, okay, my weaknesses is this, my strengths is this, no one can tell me, oh, you like this. I will like, no. I'm not, because I know what I have and what I haven't done, and I can see that. And I've also learned that way that sometimes when you work with certain people and the heart chakras or the heart and solar plexus is still very egotistical, when you show them something, they kick against it.
Yeah, they've not found the balance. They don't realize that there's an extremity.
They know there's something there, and it's like you're poking. It's like, oh, there's a little blister, so I'll just scratch it for you. And they're like, oh, that hurts, get away.
Yeah.
Sometimes I work with them, like, I feel really uncomfortable about this conversation. And I'm like, yeah, but it's because we're getting to the root. We're getting to the actual root of the problem. Yeah. And once it's gone, it's like they all say, it's like something pop and they're free. And they see themselves for who they truly are. So let's say in a way I show them a mirror.
But this is very interesting. I mean, can we resonate in and out of balance all the time then with these chakras? Because when you were speaking earlier, when you were speaking earlier about the abuse, for example, now you and I both, we both had the abuse experience, and we both work with a lot of abused clients. And this is something that's very noticeable with people who've been sexually abused or raped, or they, like you say, they tend to go one of three ways. I mean, either they over sexualized, or they completely celibate and they don't want to know, or they'll change their sexuality because of their abuse. So there's all these consequences. But as we heal, I mean, I got to a place with my sexual self where I think I found that balance. But you do find, for me, sometimes even as a healed person from the abuse, I can oscillate in and out of the extremities. Yeah. So this isn't just a physical, mental thing that happens. This is actually to do with the chakras, you're saying. Yeah. Whether it's right.
Like, if I can explain it like a wave, or let's talk about smoke.
Yeah.
It's like when you see smoke, like when you go to clubs or something and they blow smoke. The smoke settles and it moves around. That's what the energy does as well. It moves around. So depending on what's around, it's like a soup. And on this energy field, it's like we are in a soup of energy. Now that is, to me, that is the quantum energy. Now when you tap into that, you go into the quantum energy field, because that's a quantum energy field, right? And not just people resonate here, animals resonate here, plants resonate here. So the earth resonates there. But the thing is, what people need to understand, there's two sides. There's the higher and the lower, right? So the earth is like mom. This is how I've been shown it. The earth is like mom. We're born into the earth. We get nurtured on the earth. Mom teaches us through experiences on the earth. Soon as we start to connect with source, which comes later because you don't really know, you sort of have an idea if you've been taught, but otherwise you don't really know about God or source energy. That comes a bit later. So first you grow roots. You connect to the earth. You become a person on the earth. Then later you realize, hang on, then you can connect with the higher frequencies, right? And then the two combine. Now to me, mom, dad, that's my parent. Yeah. I don't have parents on the physical. Yeah, I have people that brought me to the world. Yeah. But my true parents are source. In my view, source is two energies, a negative and a positive. And the negative isn't negative like it's a negative of a battery. It's not negative like I'm going to punish you. We feel it a bit. We do feel it a bit when things go bad. We do get angry with Mother Nature or mom and go, why are you punishing me? And blah, blah, blah. But that's part of our process, right? Because we ask for those lessons. So when people start to understand how that all fits in, the pressure, that's all right, the pressure and everything goes away. It goes away and you heal. And that's what I do pretty much with the chakra. So I can go into the chakra because and it is when I do the chakra course, I spend 3 hours on each chakra.
Wow.
Because
there's a lot of work to be done.
Definitely not enough. 2 hours is not enough. And sometimes people ask me questions, well, I want to go over. So I don't, because it's like grilling. It's hard because we go in deep. And it's painful. Sometimes they cry. Sometimes they feel happy. Sometimes they're like, oh, I feel like a weight's gone off me, because people usually think they're much worse than what they really are. And when I show them their spirit self, they fall in love with themselves. And to me, that is amazing to watch. There's nothing that makes me happier than seeing them blossom when I go to them, because all I do is show them the mirror. And they go, yeah, but I'm bad. And I'm like, yeah, you've got bad stuff here. I can see you've got bad stuff here. And I'm like, well, what about all that good stuff? And they're like, what do you mean?
I've not noticed it before.
All this good stuff here. And they go, oh, so I've got two sides. Yes, you've got two sides. And when the chakras aren't balanced, they can be excessive or deficient.
So this is like a masculine, feminine thing as well. I mean, good, evil, masculine, feminine, positive, negative. The whole thing is the duality.
Everything comes into that, and everything comes into it how our chakras has developed. And the thing is, you're not stuck like this. We can change. I've healed myself by working on the chakras. When I realized why I had the rheumatoid arthritis, the root cause of it, because but autoimmune disease, which is what rheumatoid is, but it's not the only autoimmune disease. An autoimmune disease means you attack your body.
Yes. Yeah.
That means you look at your mirror and you don't like what you see, so you attack it. So what happens? You are making yourself sick. So when I started working on it, I realized that the reason I had an autoimmune disease was because I was fighting myself. Because I came out of a religion. Because, I only came out, I left the witnesses and I went back.
Yeah.
I only came out when I was about 34, 35, I think. I came out of it and I actually had my eyes open. Before, I always knew there was something, but I couldn't put my finger on it. But when I started seeing things that they said, predictions and stuff, it freaked me out. So I went back because I was like, oh, they're right. There's earthquakes, there's these things. I need to go back. So it was because I didn't feel my root chakra. And remember also, like, there's the duality and then there's the layers, but there's also the lines this way, because the root also connects with the crown or the third eye and everything. So if you use everything in line and you use everything properly, the crown governs everything. So your actions will be governed by what dimension you're stuck in. So if you're stuck in the root dimension, in the lower dimension, look around. You can see people that's there. And I've said this before, like people like Bill Gates. He's stuck. For him, it's all about money. He cannot see that. I'm sure he does, but he doesn't care. And this is the problem. He's not developed the spiritual side and connected to source. Because if you connect to source, source will guide you and show you compassion and love and forgiveness and all this. It makes you feel good. So he probably don't have that. He's never been taught
the balance.
Taught you need to do this, 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 and this. And it's very difficult because if we talk about people that are soulless, I've talked about this before in talks and stuff, and it's very difficult because there are people that have no soul. You can see it. They can't connect to the spirit. Now, whether they have a soul and they ignore it, or they don't have one at all, there's theories. I don't really want to go into that side of
on the purpose of these people. Why are they here? These
soulless people. If you think about this, if you think about the fact that they, for example, can design babies.
Yeah.
Do you not think that if you are very rich and you are very powerful and you want a specific type of leader, whatever, you can design it? So that's a possibility that they design these babies to be emotionless, because emotion interferes with your plans if you want to take over the world. You know what I mean? Emotion is going to interfere because you're going to look at people and go, oh, I feel sorry for punishing or hurting them. So they have to block those chakras or block that side of the emotion and stuff, because emotion interferes. Because compassion and empathy. And when you don't have compassion and empathy for people, you become cold and hard and callous. And you would be able to kill people without thinking about it. You'd be able to bomb like 10,000 people or poison them or whatever. Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, this is what Hitler was working on, wasn't he? He was working on the perfect race with all his experimentation with Joseph Mengele and all that.
He was obsessed with twins.
Yeah. They were
duality. Yeah. They knew about the chakras.
Yeah.
And they tried to create beings. Now, talk about clones and stuff, people think it's crazy, but it's an actual thing. There's actual companies that it costs you $150,000. I know there's one in Canada. Can't remember what it's called now, but it's a legit company. And if you actually look, they will show you photos of what the clones look like and everything. They're hanging on hooks. And that disturbed me because I was thinking, what are you doing with those?
Yeah. Surely those kind of people can't do they have their own energy field? Do they have their own chakras?
Yes, this is the thing that I don't know. I would love to be able to connect with a clone and actually see or ask people that have a clone what it's like, because Britney Spears talked about her clone before.
Really?
She was explaining that because they make clones. I know they made a clone of Rihanna as well, because people use the clone. So they pay a lot of money to hire or take the clone, use the clone. I read an article where they were saying Hillary Clinton has got 7 clones.
Wow.
And this is when you watched her on stage, for example, where she did all that funny stuff, they said it's her clone that conked out.
Short-circuited.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Why would she? Because what happened, I saw the video, she was on stage with Bill Clinton and he was talking and she was next to him going like this.
Oh, I've seen it.
And you're like, what's happening there? So to me, when you think about chakras, you are born, you learn, because your spirit is connected to these energy fields. Your soul's out there in the higher dimensions, right? Because if your soul was in you here, you'll know all of it. You probably won't come.
Yeah.
So our spirit is like, say as part of our soul, and our soul still carries on there, right? It still does things, and we can tap into our soul. So when we think about it like that, things like clones and stuff, I don't know how. So I don't know. I'll be very curious to see how they operate. Because
I would. I'd love to know.
Because I've seen that they used them before. Like I've seen one with Harry and Meghan when they were at a show, and they took a video of them sitting on the chair, and they were also just like that. But you can see they look like they're not human. So it is very strange when we talk about these things, and it's weird that we brought it in here, but
yeah, it's just
that wasn't planned. But it's weird because when you look at the chakras and you actually see people develop the chakras and stuff, it's who they truly are in here, your spirit. You are born with a spirit. You develop that spirit. As you develop the spirit, you become stronger in this life. Your lessons is this, this, this. So when you die, you connect with your soul again. So that's part of your spirit goes back to your soul. And whatever needs to happen, needs to happen. So it's very closely linked, the chakras, with the energy fields, with our spirit energy and the and source energy. So everything is so webbed together, like a spider's web in a way. Everything's webbed together. And if we actually work with the energy, it resolves everything. And also, I used to severely suffer from panic attacks and anxiety, severe, to the point where I'd faint. I can't, my energy becomes so overwhelmed that I would just pass out. I couldn't cope. So my body's just like, boy, I can't do this, and done. And I'll just drop. And I used to get that often in big crowds and for no reason. No reason. I just.
Was this you absorbing though other people's energies?
Yeah, because I didn't understand I can block it or nothing. I didn't. Now I'm okay. But before I go out, for example, I get anxiety. I can feel the energy build up. And sometimes when I'm around people, the energy affects me to such a point where I actually feel ill or whatever. But I've learned, because I understand what's happened, I've learned to be, I'm able now to release. So if I feel someone's overwhelming me, I can't stop it. But what I can do is learn to deal with that. So I can take the energy and instead of feeling it here, I can now play with it here and I can then release it.
So what's a practical exercise? Because surely there'll be a lot of people out there that will be experiencing the same thing. they won't be able to make sense of it, and they're feeling all this overload. What's a simple practice that they could just do every day to try and minimize that or control that?
Visualize yourself as a tree. That is the basic one, right? So I always say to people when I start with the root, you are a tree. Your roots are your legs. Your legs are your tree trunks. Yeah, that's your tree trunk, your legs. So when you ground, preferably outside, but obviously you can't, but go outside, barefoot on the ground, draw the energy. So visualize your roots going in. So visualize the roots coming out your legs right into the earth, wrap around the core, crystals, rocks, whatever you want to anchor it, whatever you feel comfortable. Then draw the energy like a tree would, draw the energy from the ground up. Then when you sort of like the breaths, I always take a breath, 5 takes in. So hold it for 5 and then blow out for 5. And you keep doing that. Visualize the roots, visualize drawing the energy from the earth, and you'll start feeling it. Then it will start going up. Then you connect with that or the higher dimensions. Then you connect it to the crown. So then the energy comes in through the crown. So now you balance because you've got mom's energy, the more negative. I'm tough. I learn you tough love. I teach you tough love. I teach you life's not always perfect, but you can do it. Mom teaches you strength, power, stamina, resilience, power, all that. Mom teaches you that. Dad comes and he brings all the positivity. It's like, oh, let's stroke you a bit. So with the two, you solid, grounded, rooted, but also you're free to be light. Because if I've worked with people before that are very astral. It's a problem when people are very astral because they are very spiritual. They all tell you, oh, I'm very spiritual, and they constantly in a state of meditation. They tend to change their names to whatever.
Fairy glow.
Because if I say something, I'm going to probably pick on someone's name. I don't want to do that. But they will name themselves something. Now, if you want to do that, fair enough. But to me, that's not good. And the reason why I think it's not good is because you need to know who you are. So to change your name to Phoenix or, I don't know, something like that, you know, a name like that, something, what are you? Because I don't know that. When people call themselves like fairy something, whatever, what is that? What are you saying? So I don't think those people are really connected with their spirit.
So this is them sort of identifying with where they want to be.
Yes, they're connected with source, which is amazing. But the problem comes when they're not grounded because we live on Earth. So you have to be rooted. You have to be rooted because that brings balance, right? brings balance. You have to be rooted. You have to also know there's astral. If you're too astral based, everything will be airy fairy.
Yeah.
You'll see them. They come in sweepingly. They float in the room, but they're also not connected to the earth. They're also in their own little world, and that's okay if that's what they want to do. But those people cannot really ground or teach people because they up in the clouds.
They're not learning earth-based experiences that way, though, are they? I mean, it is very, I understand what you're saying. I think it is very good to be spiritual and connected quite often, but if you, like you say, if you're not grounded, you're not learning your earth-based experiences, and that's the whole point of why we're here.
You go off. It's like a balloon.
Yeah.
Balloon full of helium. You hold that balloon. As soon as you leave it, it goes. Now, if you think about people like that, that's so like helium, like too high.
Yeah.
They hate living on the earth. They want to die. They want to go to heaven because the earth is too heavy. It's like, oh, it makes me feel so, oh. But you need both. You need to be able to be grounded because we are alive here. Yeah, you can pinch yourself, you flesh and bone.
Yeah.
That means you're human. You are on the earth. So that means you have to ground. That means you can have both, 100%. But you can't have only one or the other.
Got to be balanced.
Because if you're too grounded and you're not astral, these people are like, no, I don't believe in this God, I'm an atheist. Well, they must take quite the same amount of belief that there's nothing than there is something. So it is a bit, you have to, the things we have to be open-minded. And if people, the open-mindedness is because people are too rooted. They can't be open-minded then. Because if they're too rooted, they're like this. Well, you can't see a thing when you are looking down all the time. So you need to be here so I can look up or down. I'm free to go up or down. Because sometimes if you work with people, you have to go down. If people are very root chakra based, you have to go down and you have to go meet them there. Now, if you can't do that, you can't heal them.
You can't heal them.
You have to go to them to help them up. And that's what I've seen. So some people will be stuck in an energy field. So if they're stuck in that energy field, I can go there and go, hey, can you see me? And they go, oh, yeah. And I'm like, take my hand, let's go up a bit. And I lead them up. And that's how I do it through the chakra course, because we go through when I do say the root, we go through, so what was life like between years 1 and 7? And sometimes when they talk through things, they go, oh my God, I forgot that happened. Because sometimes I see something, I'm like, I feel you had this experience. And they go, no. And I'm like, I feel you have. Can you go into it more or think about it? And they'll go, oh, I can't. And they go, oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Connect the dots, yeah.
And then that we get to the root problem. And it honestly, honest, hand on heart, right? When you realize what the problem is, you can eliminate it right here, right now. It can be gone like that. And
I think that's very much a basis of a lot of the healing that we're doing as healers, speaking to each other. I think that is definitely a basis. What I do with the past life therapy we spoke about the last time, when you get to the root cause of why the issue's there, it alleviates all the symptoms and it gets rid of them straight away.
But if you think about what you do with the regression, you go back to the root, to the soul root.
Yeah.
The soul root. So if you think about it in two ways, your physical body, spirit here now, this life. But then you also have to remember there's a previous life. There's your spirit, or your soul is older. Your spirit learns all these new experiences all the time. But when you die and you connect with your soul, you are on a different frequency altogether. It's because we want the human experience. We chose it for whatever reason we wanted to come and do it. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that also don't believe in reincarnation.
Yeah.
And I understand why, because unfortunately, the cabal, we talked about this before, has created a false energy field where they trapped our souls for a long time. Where I am now, I feel definitely reincarnation exists, but it also doesn't. Because you can come out of that and be free from any of that. But unfortunately, we can't, because we have to work through all that stuff. So people can't just go, oh, I don't believe in reincarnation. yes, you don't, because you know there's more, there's something else, and I get it. But we still have to work through these things here because we were trapped in this energy line. So this is, when you talk about Akashic records, for example, you follow the line and people go, yeah, but you can follow, it's other people. No, because your spirit has been born and you live these lives, whether that came from source or from a dark force that trapped us there, we did it. We've done it. We have lived those lives. So if we were trapped in that world and we kept being born into the same thing over and over, which I feel we've done, it still exists.
We've still accrued lessons.
We still have to go through the healing. So there's a lot of healing to be done before we get to that point of we don't have to come back. We don't have to. And yeah, we don't. We don't have to. But if you are stuck in this life on a thing, you can't move forward. And you see that with the regression, because I've worked with you before and I've seen it. When someone's stuck, they cannot move past that stage. And the only way to do that is to heal, go back to the beginning of this problem. Because sometimes a problem doesn't just lie in this life.
It's a past life issue.
Yeah.
So which is why you need to go back to the root.
Yeah, they link together, because you won't do these things if that didn't happen there. So it's a constant work on ourselves, and it's a revelation. We learn about ourselves all the time. And that's exactly, we go into the chakras, into those energy fields. We can go back into the past, into the Akashic records, and see what in your life has happened that's held you back, but also what is holding you back in this life. So it serves two purposes. So you can do it that way.
So I was going to ask you, doing it like that, I mean, you've said we can absolutely reach a point of complete healing when we work with the chakras and heal all the chakras. Yeah. Now, do you believe, like I say, the main point, the main part of moving forward for humanity as a whole is to heal ourselves? So do we have to be completely healed and in alignment in order for us to move forward as a society? Or do you think we can sort of heal as much as we can and just get to that point of balance to move forward?
Well, this is the thing. If the dimensions are there, everyone's on different layers. So we have to just go with that, because everyone's on different layers. Now, we are moving from 3D to 5D. What does that mean? Well, what that means is people are becoming conscious. Before they were not conscious. I don't know what I want to say there, but they were not conscious before about the chakras or anything. Now they are starting to feel it. And this is why a lot of people are confused and they feel overwhelmed, that it's like, oh, everything's so intense. And if you look everywhere, people are losing it. They are shouting, they're fighting, they're feeling so angry because they're so much in the lower frequencies that they're stuck there. And they're afraid to go to the higher frequencies, because you have to challenge yourself to go to the higher frequencies. It challenges you. It creates conflict in your head, because when you work when you start working with the heart chakra and all that, you start to realize it's got a lot to do with your belief system. You have to heal your belief system. So if I tell you, you're going to die one day because you're weak, you're an earthling, you're a person, you're going to die, right? You're going to. But if I tell you, but hang on, you can heal yourself. So can you die? You can heal yourself. What's your belief on that? So people struggle with that, because they go, no, you can't, you just can't. So they can never go past that stage, because they don't have that possibility of going to the higher frequencies. People have healed. I've done it. I've healed myself. And I'm not God. I'm not Jesus. I just worked out and I was shown how to heal myself. And it wasn't about, oh, just put your hand there, close your eyes, and then I will heal it for you. No. Yeah, they did show me that as well, but they were showing me do this. But now, why do you have this? Why is your knee a problem? Why is your foot a problem? Why is your heart a problem? Because all these organs and things connect to certain chakras.
Which connect to certain emotional issues.
Yeah. Throat chakra, for example, deals with the thyroid and all that stuff. So if you get thyroid problems, your throat chakra is blocked. Now, when we start working with it, why is it blocked? So there's different things, right? Maybe as a child, you were told to shut up all the time. Or just seen and not heard. That's what I was told. Yeah. So
you old school thing, yeah.
feel like I'm not worthy of having a conversation. I'm not worthy of saying anything because that's what you've been taught. So your throat chakra is blocked, right? When you then develop, now you can't shut me up. Right? So I have to that it's not excessive, that I don't talk too much and freak people out. So it's having a balance and looking at someone and go, oh, okay, that comment was like, oh, too much for them. So I'm like, right, okay, I need to reel it in a bit. Go more down with the energy because they can't meet me there. They're not ready. And you can see, as a healer, you see it.
Well, that's where the empathy is important there. You have to be able to feel people and feel the energy, yeah.
You cannot be a healer if you don't have compassion and empathy. I don't care what people do. You have to have empathy and compassion because you have to understand where they're coming from. Now, we talk a lot about the sex trafficking and pedophiles and all that stuff. But yeah, and they've done that. But we need to go back to their cases as well. Why did they do that? What happened for them to do that? What triggered them? What happened? Now, we're all different. So some people might not have been abused. That may be pedophiles. I don't know. We don't know. There's different people for different things. So why are they like that and why are these like that? So I was abused, but I'm not an abuser. I would rather be abused than abused. I can't do that. So that's my weakness. I learned that I have to change. I can't be abused. I can't just go with, oh, well, if people treat me like crap, then it's okay. No, I have to work against it. I need to get balance. But I can't go the other way either. Well, I've healed, so screw you now. You don't make an effort, whatever. Compassion and empathy is incredibly important because that is what we consist of. And as psychics, as healers, we consist out of that energy. That's what
what you're saying now is so important because when we talk about moving society into new earth, our new way of being, what you've just said, when you heal yourself and you have that empathy towards others, even trying to understand why an abuser does what he does, we then interact differently and we can have a different society. It's not just about locking them up and it's about rehabilitation and helping. And also
seeing their intention, because I am 100% sure there are pedophiles that do want help, and I'm 100% sure there are pedophiles that feel nothing. So it's also being able to see whether someone can be worked and when someone should be taken out, because I believe that some of these pedophiles have to be removed. They cannot heal. They're too broken. They don't want to heal. And that's also another thing. You have to want to. You can't heal anyone that don't want to. So you can go and work with a pedophile, for example, and do all the stuff you can do, and he's still going to do it. Because they are in that the soul is snapped somehow, so they are different. But the thing is, if people are willing to work with their energy, of course you can help them. You can, but it's a willingness, it's a want to heal. At the moment, I think people are in a way being forced because they are feeling more now, and I don't understand. So they fly off the handle because I've seen it now. People just flip. Road rage, everything, and it's worse. It's getting worse, and I'm not really sure why. It could be a number of things. I don't know. It could be the drip. It could be anything, right? That does that. Who knows? But whatever it is, we have to have compassion because I also feel people are at the end of the tether. They've been psychologically attacked so much that they feel fragile and frazzled. So what happens is we have to help them put the pieces together and actually go, hey, we are okay. This is not, because they can't see light. They can't. So when we work with people like this, you show them the light. You gently ground them. You gently go through the chakras and energies with them with love. It's always with love. It's never harsh. And then they see it themselves. And the amount of times that they cry or the love they feel for themselves is what heals. They heal themselves in a way. I just assist them in how.
That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah, if somebody came to you for chakra healing, what would you do? Is this the 6-week course that you offer for them to be able to help themselves with your guidance?
Yeah.
Or is this something physical that you can do?
No, I do both. So it's 7 weeks on how I work with it. So week 1, we do the root chakra. And then there's a week. So in that week, I'll give them homework. And we don't talk in the week. They when we talk the next time, we'll discuss it. Some people send me emails and they go, oh, and then they tell me all this stuff, and I love it. So it depends. Everyone's different. Some people will tell you nothing, but they'll tell you it worked. And other people will tell you everything. They were like, and I love it, whatever. So they've got that week to work on that chakra, and I give them homework. So they definitely work with it. And then the next week, we do the next chakra, and then they work on that chakra. And they always come back to me like, I realized this or that. And the amount of people that I worked with, that we discuss things, and then like with people and stuff like exes or whatever, and then I'll say to them, I won't be surprised when you do this healing work that person might contact you. And they do. They do. The amount of times that these people, they feel something and then they connect, and then they either come and apologize or something, and the healing goes even further.
Brilliant.
So it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. But when you start working with the chakras, you as a person open up all these layers. It's there, but it's like you have a bunch of keys in your hand, and there's loads of doors that shut, and you don't know. You don't know there's doors that you need to go through, and you don't know you've got keys. So all I do is go, oh, what's that dangling? Look, it's a key. Ooh, what does that mean? And then they go, oh, didn't know I had these keys. And I go, oh, look, there's a door. And they go, oh, yeah. And I'm like, do you think that key fits in the door? And then we open the door, and like, what do you see? And they're like, whoa. It's the point of it, because they see a different side of themselves, because a lot of people have been abused unintentionally. I don't think all parents are out to abuse their kids, but if you've not been developed properly, you are going to make those same mistakes with your kids, which is abuse. But because people don't realize it, we don't view it like that. But in effect, on an energetic level, it's like having this and doing this all the time. Punch you all the time.
Well, hopefully you're going to help us understand a little bit more about each and every single one, because we've decided we're actually going to do a series on each chakra. So we'll do one where you can take us through each one and tell us what the impact is, how to heal it, what we need to do to heal it. And then perhaps people can get a little bit of a better understanding on what each one means and how we can work.
And then they know what it entails, and they know what to do with it. Because there's loads of layers. And it's like, I always see it as an onion. And the thing is with chakras that people need to understand, it doesn't work this way. It works around your energy. So the root chakra goes around your aura. It doesn't just sit in the bottom bit. It goes around your aura. So if it's strong and bright and everything like that, you feel more balanced and grounded because it's surrounding you. But if it's very much just there, it sits at the bottom, and people get backache, they have problems with their legs, their feet, all sorts, because the energy just clogs like that. It's not free. Not free, and they don't understand it. So we have to work with our chakras. We have.
That's amazing. Absolutely.
No, it's amazing. I love it.
Thank you so much. I've really, really enjoyed listening to that, and I can't wait to delve in and discover each one. So thank you.
So next time we'll go a bit into it more, and I'll tell you of each one all that. We'll go into that a bit, and then we can break it down so people have a better understanding of what the chakras actually are, what they do, what organs more or less is connected to that, all that.
Help them understand their physical pains.
And then they know, when I get lower back pain, it's because I'm worried about money. So why am I worried? What am I doing here? Can I solve the problem? Can I then deal with it? And then the back pain goes away.
Brilliant.
So, yeah.
Thank you very, very, very much.
All right. Thank you.
I look forward to doing this again next week. So we'll get some more info. As always, it's been a pleasure, my darling.
Awesome. Have a good week, and I'll speak to you soon.
You too.
Love you.
Love you. Bye. Bye.